Flash Industries has developed an exciting line of magical projection technology, able to duplicate almost any image with 99.8% accuracy. Utilizing multiple projection points, we are even capable of maintaining images with a single projection source is blocked. No more annoying shadows in your image. Combined with our shield products, we are predicting exciting new hard light products to be made available at Flash Industries in years to come. Her cheeriness was getting on my nerves. Okay, so tell me, I started. Magic shields, P21 asked with a frown. I hissed through my teeth as my eye went flat. He was a smart pony. Don't shoot him. He was a smart pony. Our latest and most exciting product to date are our magical shield products. By projecting a barrier of arcane energy, we have been able to protect vital military and government property all across Equestria. While not available for private purchase at this time due to security concerns, we predict that within 20 years, all ponies will enjoy complete personal protection through our magical shield products. Here at Flash Industries, we are proud to provide some of the strongest and most comprehensive shielding technology in Hoofington or abroad. But it didn't have enough power, I blurted. The Hoofington shield failed because it didn't have enough energy. I looked out of the window and looked at a perfectly intact city. It was even sunny. The core rose like a cluster of smoky quartz. It even glistened. But there was something off about the image. I stretched out a hoof, and the entire window shimmered where my hoof penetrated. I felt grimy glass beneath it. I'm sorry, but to discuss specific technical inquiries, I'll have to refer you to our engineering department. Would you like to make an appointment? I sighed, about to ask about Steel Pony when I stopped and looked at Lacuna. Well, what? Aren't you going to ask about other technologies? I asked. Flash Industries isn't only involved with products involving light. I covered my face and screamed in my hooves as the projection went on. We have numerous other projects all across Equestria, such as our partnership with Hippocampus Energy at the New Hope Solar Array, various energy distribution services with the Hoofington Reconstruction effort, and work with the Hoofington Planetarium and Black Pony Mountain Observatory. We also— Shut up! I'm here for Project Steel Pony! I snapped. The projection froze. Then she frowned. The mayor's voice changed to a deep buck's. I'm sorry. Please remain where you are until appointed security personnel arrives. Proper authorities have been alerted. If you attempt to leave, any lethal countermeasures will be employed. We apologize for this inconvenience. And then the alarms began to sound throughout the entire building. Why did I have the distinct certainty that it wouldn't take long for Diamond and Light Hooves to come up here and check? The walls around us began to shimmer and constellate into two glowing white alicorns. Beads of blue glowed at the tips of their horns as they approached. I hoped the goddesses would be flattered as I raised the shotgun and blasted a round of buckshot at the ghostly apparition. The lead pellets passed right through without an effect. Glory's beam rifle did, if anything, even less. Magical arrows penetrated without a ripple. Then a blue light washed over us, and I yawned. Indeed, the lethargy was spreading through me with alarming swiftness. Even Lacuna seemed tired, and she didn't have to sleep. Non-lethal weaponry, I remembered. It seemed like Diamond had been true to her word to Twilight. My eye watered as I struggled to stay awake, peering up at the blue light at the end of the alicorn's horn. There was a tiny sapphire talisman floating in the tip. I slipped into Sats before my eyes closed completely, queuing up 2 attacks, and hoped for the best. My first shot ignored the giant glowing target and struck the blue gemstone squarely. It shattered into a tiny pop of blue smoke. The other fractured, and I had to blast 3 times to get lucky before a pellet smashed into the gem. The alicorns winked out. Don't worry about the alicorns. Target the gems, I said as they reappeared, this time with red gemstones. Beams of burning energy swept across the reception room, and all of us, save Lacuna, dove for cover. Glory yelped as a line of char was drawn from her seared flanks down to her hoof. I swore, aiming for the rubies. However, a small shield appeared around each, and my pellets were harmlessly deflected. The crimson beams dug into Lacuna's raised shields, drilling through it at the alicorn and scotch tape. Suddenly, her eyes flashed. "Pitiful phantoms! You dare to challenge a true goddess?" she declared. She reared and shouted in a booming, resonating voice. "Be gone!" From her horn erupted a stream of magical arrows that swept out to a home in one of the brilliant fire rubies. They not only shattered the two above the alicorns, but sought out every gemstone emitting a hologram. Then the storm passed. The reception room returned to the same rotted state as the building below. 2 or 3 patches of light flickered anemically, and the once formidable doors were revealed to be an empty doorframe. Okay, color me not impressed. Lacuna looked at me and declared imperiously, "The goddess shall not be mocked." "I'm not mocking you." I looked at P21. "Are you?" He shook his head vigorously. "You?" Glory's jaw just hung open loosely. I grinned sheepishly. "See? No mocking here." She huffed softly, looking slightly mollified as she ruffled her feathers. Head held high, she strode through the doors into the office decorated with 2 more holograms. It appeared spotless, but you couldn't hide that reek of mold and mildew. "Turnip," I called out as I stepped through afterwards. "Hey, baby, I'm right where you left me. Ready for another ride on the turnip wag..." Oh. The tan buck was tied spread eagle on a bed, and looked very out of place among the other holograms. From the look of things, he was far from distressed. "I thought you'd be something else." "I'm security. I'm here to rescue you," I said, a little skeptical. "I mean, if you're not busy." Glory covered Scotch's eyes with her wing again. The filly brushed it aside and looked critically at the bound buck. I've seen bigger," she said flatly. For some reason that seemed to blow something in Glory's brain, as whatever she'd been about to say died in her throat. I was a little surprised, too. Hadn't Glory ever heard of sex ed? Enclavers were weird. Turnip was a pretty plain-looking earth pony buck, tan with a brown mane. He gave a small grin. "Well, you don't have to. I'm fine here." P21 sighed, covering his face with his hooves before he said, "I'm your replacement. She's throwing you to the rest of the fillies. Then you'll be dusted." His face added an unspoken idiot. Turnip's grin faded as he yanked against his bonds. "Oh. Well, in that case, rescue would be very welcome. Yes, sir, thank you, please." He shook his head as I approached with the sword. He looked down at his other head. "Stand down, boy. It's got a mind of its own," he said as I smiled, turned the blade over and grinned down at him. His eyes grew panicked. "Get down!" I rolled my eye a little. "Don't worry. I promise not to take too much off the top," I said as I raised the sword and cut his bonds. Maybe the guy didn't deserve it, but honestly, staying here with these gangers for sex? Really? At that moment, the elevator door chimed, and the buck fell from my attention as 8 flashers spilled out and immediately began firing red beams of incineration magic at the lot of us. The bed was the biggest thing for Glory and me to take cover behind, so we found ourselves shooting over Turnip as I tried to slash him free. Spitting my concentration wasn't doing much for my accuracy either. I swapped to my rifle, saving my sats for Diamond. "Cut me loose! Cut me loose!" Turnip bawled as we blasted over him, keeping the flashers back. Scotch Tape, Lacuna, and P21 were behind a large office desk. Persuasion thumped, but there was a unicorn quick enough with a shield spell that the grenade bounced off and back at us. "Shut up and think small!" I shouted as I reloaded my rifle. I managed to get through 2 of the bindings. Then the elevator chimed again, and out stepped more flashers. Behind them was Diamond, a Gatling beam weapon floating above her, and a sphere of shimmering light surrounding her. "That's enough! Time to dust all these freaks!" I jumped into sats, and aimed 4 rounds right at her head. I saw a 0% chance of hitting the extremity. I saved the charge and eyeballed the shot. The bullets flickered right off the shield. Shit. I hated being right sometimes. Diamond set herself, and the glowing Gatling beam weapon began to strafe over the entire office in a rain of red blasts. My barding sizzled, and Glory barely ducked as the beams walked from one end of the office to the other. Some miracle reached out and shielded Turnip's bits from being vaporized. "You're dusted. All of you." Okay, now I could really use some goddess badassery, but if it was all she could do to keep her shield up, protecting Scotch and P-21. Suddenly, she winked away, taking both of them with her. Something tunked into the ground, rolling out from under the desk. Diamond passed and suddenly shrieked, "Who stole my kills?" That was a partial relief, but it also meant that the three of us were suddenly about to be dusted. Then the holographic office flickered and died, revealing the scummy and decayed surroundings I was so familiar with. The gemstones set in the walls near the ceiling flickered and filled the room with a strange cornea of light. What are you doing?" Diamond asked as she backed towards the door. Suddenly, a crimson beam flashed out from one of the gemstones and swept across the ponies in the doorway, each exploding into a cloud of glowing ash. 2 beams, 4, 10. The entire room was filled with flashing and flickering light. Scarlet lances danced back and forth, catching each flasher in red lines of death. 2, 3, sometimes 4 beams converged and transformed the fillies into crackling piles. The beams were so intense that they melted crisscrossing lines into the floors and walls. What did you do?" Diamond screamed as she turned and bolted for the elevator. Every single line of burning death caught her shield. The collar around her neck crackled, and the diamond gem popped. An instant later, she was transformed into a glowing pony-shaped collection of death that collapsed silently into a heap. The beams flickered, and then a pony appeared. A very familiar pony. Golden blood. "Well done, Blackjack. I'm so glad that I could meet you face to face," he said calmly, the illusion flickering before me. "I've been trying to make direct contact with you and EC-1101 for the longest time. So glad I could help you now." The golden eyes, the scarred white hide, the sincere smile. "You're golden blood," I muttered softly. I was having difficulty standing, even breathing. You... What was I supposed to be feeling right now? Here was the pony behind everything. The ministries, the projects. So many old secrets and lies that were fucking with my very immediate life. If not for him, 99 wouldn't have been exposed to the Raider disease. If not for him, Luna might not have formed the ministries. Here was a motherfucker I could blame for everything. He looked a touch annoyed at my speechlessness. "You're a bit overwhelmed. I'm just glad I was able to help. Now," he took a deep breath, "about EC-1101.